What the?
Imbeciles! After all the trouble you've gone through, you're about to die right where you started. It's so poetic.
This is it, Clank. Let's get him.
So the fight with Drex Mech is as simple as punching him a bunch and using your little orbs.
You might have been useful to me after all. Too bad you chose the wrong side.
Or so it seems. Unfortunately, this is when things get much harder. This is the real final boss of the game. You know it is. The music has stopped. And now we got this. This is what everything you've been training up to has prepared you for. So Drex Mech is sort of an interesting boss fight as it uses a lot of weapons that seem kind of similar to what you have. I still wouldn't necessarily say it's supposed to be that boss fight where, oh, you're fighting yourself. But, yeah, you'll go ahead and see. He uses bombs just like you, although he's got an interesting upgrade to his. Oh, and don't worry about taking your time here. The platforms, as far as I'm aware, you can stay on as long as possible and they won't kill you if you fall through. But you better be prepared to switch to your grapple hook on the fly. Otherwise, you could say goodbye and start the whole boss fight over from the start. So that was... Would you count that phase 1 or phase 2? I guess if you count the Giant Clank section, but I'm not going to bother with that. Phase 1 was just rockets and bombs. Here, it's rockets and with a twist. Oh, he still fights the bombs. Well, I guess it's much of the same. Yeah, here we go. This is the twist I was talking about. This is what you wanted to save up your... This is why you need the suck cannon for this fight. He gives you free ammo. You better do it as fast as you can because those bombs will destroy the other ones, and that'll be that. And you will run out of ammo if you use this thing, so... Yeah, you might want to use your suck cannon once in a while. And as for why I was zooming in with R1, I don't know. Don't ask me. Once again, he'll just fly away, and then you just gotta chase after him again. Although it seems like he's finally getting to a different arena than usual. It's no more of this rocky surface. Yep, it's the deplantizer. It wasn't really that big to begin with, so here's what it actually looks like.
So it has come to this. Once I step on this ignition switch, a countdown will commence. The end of which signals the destruction of your pitiful world.
There must be another way to make a home for your people.
You think that's what this is about? Who do you think polluted our last world? I did. This is about one thing and one thing only. Cash! And lots of it. You see, I've been paid for every square inch of my new world. Once the inhabitants move in, I will begin polluting this world as well. Then the whole thing starts all over again. Ah, brilliant.
Why, you evil little...
Save it, Clank. We have to stop that timer.
Power slam that button to terminate the countdown. To power slam, jump and press the R1 button.
So for the final phase here, he's obviously gonna activate the deplanetizer and you need to stop it. Despite being the final boss, this is still pretty easy to prevent from happening anyway, so good attempt, I guess. And this is basically when he pulls out all the stops to make sure you do not win. I guess there's technically more than one phase here, but I don't feel like counting down all the differences in this one arena. But yeah, beyond the initial 3 that he had, he now has his own Pets of Doom, or whatever these could be. They're certainly not from a glove, so they're the Belt of Doom, I guess. And they're still pretty easy to take out, so they're not all that different. And Drake is still very much a man of friendly fire, so this won't be too hard. So if you're ever getting into trouble with all of his enemies, just run away a bunch and that'll be that. Yeah, obviously I've showed this already, but he'll do this multiple times. The solution never changes, you still just gotta grind away. I don't think it's possible for you to escape that any other way. He'll just keep chasing you. It just so happens that the grinding gives you enough speed to get away. So otherwise, just keep moving and try to come up with a counterplan to all his attacks. You know, suck cannon for all the mines, maybe an Agents of Doom to counteract his dooms. Yeah, this is why you'd want to buy the Devastator. Not because you just got advertised it a whole bunch, because you really want to you're gonna really want to use it for Drek here. Oh, and by the way, I hate to bring up the whole checkpoint starvation thing again, but yeah, if you die here, you have to start the whole boss fight over from the beginning. Although it didn't take me too many tries when I first played it, so it's not that bad. But if you're one of those lesser experienced gamers, this might be you know, a really tough part. He has this new attack where you gotta essentially commit to a direction already so he doesn't hit you. This is where your stretch jump comes in handy. And unfortunately though, it looks like our new weapon here, it's supposed to be the endgame weapon, is not doing very much damage to begin with. Oh, he now pulls out this. So he unleashes whatever that is, and it just starts going all over the place. He'll just randomly, you know, go in your direction and it'll hurt you if you run into it. You know, nothing big. I hope, for you. Now he's got all this going on around at the same time, which makes it a bit confusing. Otherwise, this is the whole premise of the boss fight. That wasn't too much, honestly. Nothing complex, just be prepared.
Ratchet?
What's up? You know, this time I am thinking what you're thinking.
So, to finally deal the final blow to Drek, we'll have one last thing to do. Repay the favor. Shame about the planet.
This can't be good. Phew, that was close. Clank, you can pull us up now.
The servos in my arm appear to be broken.
Broken? As in, fall to our deaths broken?
Yes.
That was close. Thanks.
My arm appears to be badly damaged.
Ah, you'll be all right. Hey, tin can! Where do you think you're going? We, still need to fix that arm.
Well, that was Ratchet Clank. And that's how our story just ends, right where it began. Two guys just hooking up, and that's how it all goes. So what do I think of this game? It may seem like I'm unenthusiastic, and I am. But I kind of care about this game a little. Like, not really that much, though. Like, this game is obviously, like, very obsolete in comparison to everything else you can find in the series. You can tell this was the first just by how many features it's missing. And man, it's annoying to deal with all these price gates, right? Especially right off the bat. Like, it's so bad that it doesn't take very long for Insomniac Games to get rid of it. But yeah, it's pretty much about one of my few issues beyond maybe just how sluggish Ratchet controls in this game compared to the other ones. It's a bit snappier than Going Commando, which is the next game in the series. But other than that, I don't think there's really much issues I find. But yeah, there's still much better Ratchet & Clank games you could play than this one. This one is just... it's interesting to say the least, but I mean, I don't think you necessarily need to play it to understand this. Like, there's no games I'll ever reference this again. It just happens. Like, not even... like, maybe for a few nods, but... like, you could just play any other game and you'll get the same Ratchet & Clank experience, but better. Like, at this point, they're going to start introducing RPG mechanics such as leveling things up, which means your weapons will level up, your health will level up. I think that's about it. And, well, it'll be more combat centric. You'll actually be able to have combat beyond pew pew once or twice with an enemy. Like, you'll have enemies that can actually take more than one hit. Their blaster will actually have a use for once. Unfortunately, the blaster in the Ratchet & Clank games are those that are the worst weapons in the games that they're in. Like, at least this one can be a bit useful for the bosses, but here, if you try to use it on enemies, you're just gonna waste ammo. And then later games, it's only useful for like the beginning, and then once you're near the end, those just gets useless. but it was nice to go through this game one more time. I mean, sure, it can get a little frustrating to have to do so much backtracking to other planets just so I can get this little nifty item. Well, I guess you gotta earn it somehow. But yeah, I don't think I have much beef with this game. It just is. It's a Ratchet Clank game where there's already better games to play. It's just an artifact of its time and age. And I mean, there is an issue with the Ratchet Clank games where they haven't really evolved that much. You can play any Ratchet Clank game, except for this one, and you'll get the same experience as the shooter game, and that's third person with a bunch of aliens. Yeah, this game doesn't really have much for you to actively go through. Like, I mean, if you really care about the series, maybe play it just to experience it once or twice. But if you're just a casual player of the game, I can't really recommend this game. It's like much better experiences than this one. Like, go ahead, play the 2016 game. It's not the same thing, but it's a nice reimagining that'll at least make you more familiar with what the franchise will have than this one. This one is just very different from the others. I mean, the voice of Ratchet here is not even the one we're gonna have later on. So say goodbye to Mikey Kelly. Anyway, that's it. See you for something else.
Do you have a problem with unwanted hair? Is painful itching in your nether regions causing you undue embarrassment? Do you just plain stink? Then you need this, the Gadgetron Personal Hygienator. Hi, I'm Steve McQuark, and this little baby can take care of any grooming needs that are just too much trouble for you to handle yourself. Allow me to demonstrate. Yeah. Oh, mommy.
Turn it off! Turn it off!
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this. See you next time for Ape Escape on the Loose. Until then, notyourusualZero signing off.